Always great catching up with my next guest, the number 4 ranked welterweight Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, back here on the program. Stephen, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Back in the gym, training. The last fight didn't go the way I wanted it to go. But I'm positive, man, and we'll be ready for the next one. We'll be ready for the next one.
Yeah, you live in a house of positivity, man. That's one of the reasons I wanted to get you on here. I knew, I never like to interview a fighter after a loss, but I did want to get some insight as to what is next for you. But before we get into that, man, we had some news today. It's not 100% confirmed, but it looks like Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington, UFC 268 on November 6th. Your reaction to that news?
Why? The guy literally he got stopped, got his jaw broken, had one fight, and now he's fighting again for the title. Like, they're just throwing the same guys at Usman over and over and over again. I don't get it. I figured Leon Edwards, somebody different. He hadn't fought him in, I don't know, several years, but at least it's somebody different. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that's kind of worked his way back up on a, 9-fight winning streak. I don't get why they didn't give him the fight. Little disappointed in where the UFC is going with that, but I don't know why they're doing it. Is it because he went 5 rounds with the guy? I know he got stopped, but
well, I think it's, if I'm playing devil's advocate here, I think there's a few things. He has had the closest fight with Usman, I think, since winning the title, right? There's that. There's also, it's people love to hate Colby. So I think there's a good build up for the fight, right? I think more so than Leon, but on merit, you're 100% right. Leon, 10-fight unbeaten streak. His last loss was against Usman back in 2015. So there's a lot of argument to make there, but I was going to ask you about that. Like, what do you make of the fans fixating on this 5th round with Nate Diaz when he clearly won the fight? Like, last time I checked, Nate Diaz lost both of his fights, but people are talking like he won against Leon Edwards.
It was the fact. I think it's the fact because, number one, it was pretty hype because Nate Diaz was like, you know what? I know a co-main event, but I'm going to do 5 rounds. Like, I was like, what? I think that's the first time a co-main event was ever 5 rounds.
They've never done that in history. Yeah, correct. For an undercard fight. Yeah.
It's ridiculous how much pull Nate Diaz, even though he's lost his last, like you said, I don't know how many fights, he's still got major pull, man. He's still one of the most popular guys in the UFC. But it's the fact that he took that punishment, still dishing it back, talking crap, doing the Nate Diaz thing, and then almost knocking him out. Like put him on Wobble Street. And everybody went nuts. And, that being in the 5th round, that's the last thing people are seeing. So that's what people talk about. They don't talk about the fact that Leon won. They talk about how Nate Diaz almost knocked him out. Even though, the guy could barely stand up. I thought he was just getting demolished. I mean, Leon Edwards was piecing him up, but almost finished him in the 5th. I don't know why he didn't. I don't know if he didn't realize he hurt him as bad as he did. He knew it or not, but I figured Nate Diaz was going to go in for the kill.
Well, and here's the other thing too, right? Your fight with Gilbert was 3 rounds, supposedly for title implications, right? Because you've never fought Usman. And here's a fight with Leon Edwards and Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz is getting credit for a 5th round that realistically he shouldn't have got because your fight should have been 5 rounds, if anything. If we were looking at 2 fights that needed to be 5 rounds, I think you and Gilbert, with the stakes that were sort of laid there, would lead more to that. So do you think that's kind of unfair in a way that Leon had a 5-round fight and you had a 3-round fight?
Well, I think it was one of the things that, he asked for it and got it, and we didn't ask for it. I do believe I would have done better, if it was a 5-round fight. But it's very difficult to fight against somebody who kind of doesn't want to fight back. They just want to kind of lay on you. But he was fatiguing in the 3rd, so I think 5 rounds would have definitely been a lot better for me fighting Gilbert Burns. But it is what it is,
Yeah, we'll get to your fight in just one sec, but I do have to ask your pick for Covington and Usman, the rematch. How do you see that fight playing out?
Well, the fact, we haven't seen Colby Covington since his fight with Tyron Woodley, and that's been a while. But we have seen the tremendous improvement in Kamaru Usman. We know he's a phenomenal wrestler. He's got a gas tank, but now he's finishing guys. He just knocked out one of the best strikers in the welterweight division, George Masvidal, and he's putting people to sleep. He put, Gilbert Burns to sleep with the jab. So he's improving everywhere, not just his wrestling, but his striking as well. I think I got Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman is going to put it on Colby Covington. Put it on him. His striking is better than the last time they fought. He's a very big welterweight. He's a very strong welterweight. And I think it's going to go the same way it did last time, but in shorter time. Their wrestling is going to neutralize the wrestling. Both of them. They're going to keep the fight standing, and Kamaru's going to put him to sleep.
Now, you mentioned the Gilbert Burns fight. Obviously didn't go your way in that one. What did you take away the most from that performance? And maybe let's just start first with what surprised you the most in that fight that you weren't expecting?
Well, what kind of surprised me was the fact that he was actually. I didn't expect him to just try and hold me there. I figured, a guy like him was going to, being a 5-time world champion of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, was going to go for a submission, was going to try and put his hands on me a little bit more. I know in the past he's been fairly confident in his striking, but still, even though when he got me on the down, it was just after the first takedown, the first round, he was very strong guy. It was very difficult because all he was thinking about was just holding. He was holding. And he got himself into a position where he would throw these rabbit punches that didn't hurt. I don't know if you remember in the second round, I was like, you know what? Screw blocking. I'm just going to fire back. We just punched each other in the face because they were nothing. The only thing that I felt was in the third round where he stood up and had my head down and hit me in the back of the head. And I never get hit in the back of the head, so that was sore for a while. But other than that, like the fact that he wanted to win the way he wanted to win it, the way he wanted, his coach came up to me afterwards, like, hey man, sorry, but that's the only way we could beat you was just to hold you there. So I was surprised that he wanted to win it that way, But I know things I got to go back and work on. But even then, it's very difficult to create space to be able to get back up to your feet when somebody's just literally holding you. He wasn't even trying to better his position. So I was surprised in that people win fights that way. And I got to be ready for that.
Was there anything you would have done differently, looking back now, knowing after the fact how the fight played out?
During the fight, I figured he was going to try and do what maybe take a note out of Tyron Woodley's book and back up, wait for me to overcommit and shoot for the leg, or wait for me to overcommit and throw a big bomb. But now that I look back at it, he was backing up because I think he was scared of my striking. During the fight, I'm sitting there waiting for. I didn't make sure I wasn't overly aggressive coming forward. I wanted him to keep right on that edge of where I'm not too close, not too far away. But now that I look back, he was scared. I definitely could have been more aggressive in that fight with my striking. And it showed. It showed in the second round where, he was trying to get me down. He was literally covering up, head down. And I was surprised that he was happy with that. At the end of it, he looked like, he acted like he had just won the title, If it was me, I would have been disappointed in winning that way. But, definitely disappointed in my performance as well. I should have been more aggressive and let the hands fly. I should have let the hands fly. And my dad has been relentless. He is not letting me forget it for sure. My coach is not, my boss is not letting me forget it, man. So it doesn't happen next time.
Any injuries from the fight? Are you dealing with anything? I know it seems like every fight there's something, but how's your health right now?
Health is good. I told my management, if I could make it on that Madison Square Garden card in November, that would be amazing. Want to get back out there. I know that I can go out there and beat these guys in the top 5. I was asking for George Masvidal, give me Nate Diaz, give me somebody with it. Even though they're ranked below me, these guys are phenomenal fighters. They're impressive. They're popular at the moment right now. Just give me somebody. If I can't get anybody in the top 5, give me a name. So I talked to George Masvidal before I even stepped out there with Gilbert Burns, and he was, wishing me good luck, man. I know he wants that fight that win back, and that would be an amazing fight, I believe. Him or give me Nate, man. I'll be ready for November for sure.
So George and Nate are sort of the names there as well. Is there any other names in that division that kind of catch your eye that maybe fit that bill of, sort of a notable name that you'd be interested in fighting, or are those the only two?
Well, no, man. I mean, if Leon Edwards isn't fighting, give me Leon Edwards. I would love to fight Leon. Well, he's ranked number 3 right now, or 2. I don't know really sure. Yeah, 2. But I believe he's 2. Would be a great fight as well. Me and Leon Edwards. He's known for his striking. He's getting better with his takedown and his takedown defense as well. So becoming a better, well-rounded fighter. I think that would be a great matchup as well. I think it'd be a great fight.
Do you think with that loss that you'll ever get a title shot again? Because I know I know things can move around a little bit, but does that kind of cross your mind that might have been it, that fight?
No, not at all. I mean, I'm still at the top right now, still ranked number 4, and I'm still the only guy in the division or at the top at the moment right now that hasn't fought Kamaru Usman.
It's true.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, does Gilbert think he's going to get a shot after that last performance? No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, I don't know if you heard the way, was it Dana White was talking about it? Well, he wasn't impressed. So I don't believe that he'll get that shot. I think he'll have to fight a few more times to get it. But, I still feel like I hold a threat. I still feel like, Kamaru Usman's not the type of guy that's just going to hold me there. He's going to look to try and finish somebody. And that makes for a much more exciting fight. And that's what the fans want to see. And I know that, Kamaru Usman, he wants to fight the best guys in the world. And I'm the only guy at the top right now that hasn't fought him.
That's true. I kind of know the answer to this, but I got to ask anyways, just so we can close the door on it. But no thoughts of going up to 185, right?
No, man. I mean, I'm not a big welterweight. I'm really not a big welterweight. There are guys in the division that walk around over 200 pounds. I'm literally at my heaviest 195. Now, are there guys in the 185 division that I would like to fight? Heck yeah, man. I mean, Stylebender, for instance, man. Stylebender for sure. Robert Whittaker, who we fought before at welterweight, and that guy is just I saw him like 2 years ago. He was the champ, obviously, but the dude was huge. I was like, oh my dude, are you the same guy? Like, he was thick. I would have to put on an extra 10 pounds maybe to even think about going up to that division. It may take some time, but I think that division is just stacked and the guys there. And the thing was this, Robert Whittaker he's thick. Boy, he's a big dude, and a big barrel chest. He killed himself to get to 170, and I make 170 fairly easy. So, everybody's been asking me that. I want to see you versus Stylebender. I think that would be an awesome fight. If we like made a deal to just keep it, which I don't think you would ever shoot for a takedown, but I think that would be an awesome fight for sure, me and Stylebender.
How would it go? How would it play out if you and Stylebender fought? Because that is a fight I hear about a lot just because of your styles. How do you think a fight between the two of you would play out?
I think it would be very fun. I think it would be an interesting matchup. I mean, win or lose with that, just stepping out there and fighting one of the best strikers in the UFC would just be amazing. But he's got the reach, man. He's got the length. He's got great timing. Scary opponent. But me being who I am and wanting to fight the best guys, the best strikers, and me, considering myself one of the best strikers, why not? You know what I mean? I think it would be awesome. It would be an awesome fight for sure.
We haven't talked since Tyron Woodley is now boxing Jake Paul. I remember the last interview we had, you said, and I remember this, you said it was a bad idea for Jake to box him. Well, now that he is, what are your thoughts on that fight being put together? Were you surprised?
It's happening, man. It's happening. And hats off to Tyron for making that, for getting that fight. I mean, it's going to be a big fight. The guys do not like each other for sure. Tyron Woodley, he's working with some of the best guys in the world. Obviously, you see him over that Mayweather's gym, working with those guys over there. The dude has got power. This dude's got power. He's got power. He's got speed. He's explosive. He's got fairly long reach. I mean, I have the shorter reach between the two. I don't know, but going from 5-minute rounds to I don't know how many rounds it is going to be.
I think it's 8 rounds.
3 rounds. Is it how many?
I believe it's 8 rounds. I think is the fight.
8 3-minute rounds. The pace is different. I mean, look at Conor McGregor. How he tired out in the fight. It is a different pace. It is it's a different style of fighting. That's the only thing that I'm thinking of right now that could affect Tyron Woodley is that pace, is the rounds being different. Can he keep up the pace for 8 rounds? Because, in those rounds, you are picking it up because they're only 3 minutes. I remember in my kickboxing days, they were only 2-minute rounds. I remember doing 2 or 5 2-minute rounds and being just exhausted at the end because you only got 2 minutes to put in work. And if you're not putting in the work, your opponent is. So you're going nonstop for those 2 to 3 minutes. It's a different pace. But do I think he's got the ability and the skill set to beat Jake Paul? I do. I do. But Jake Paul, man, he's shown that he can stand out there with the best. He's working, man. He's an athlete. He's making a name for himself in the fight game. So, man, it's going to be a scrap. I'm looking forward to it. Does Jake Paul have the ability to beat Tyron? Yes, he does. So, man, it's being an MMA fighter, you want to see the MMA fighter win. I'm looking forward to it. I think that would be one I would actually watch. I would actually watch that fight.
So that's the question. I give you $500, Wonder Boy. Who are you putting your money on?
Oh, 500. It's an itty bitty mighty mo. Catch a tired body's toe. I'm going for Tyron.
Yeah. And how do you think he gets it done? Do you think he finishes Jake Paul, or do you think he gets a decision?
No, I do believe, Jake Paul is very intelligent. I think his defense, his movement's very good. I think it's going to be a decision.
We haven't actually spoken since, obviously because it was on your card, Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier. How surprised were you with the way the fight ended, with McGregor basically snapping his ankle, his leg, whatever you want to call it? It was a pretty gruesome injury.
It was terrible, man. And with 2 in a year, you got Chris Weidman, and then you had him. Crazy. That was wild. I didn't, and to be honest with you, like, I saw the kick. I didn't realize, and of course you didn't know till afterward, he did have a shin or ankle injury prior to that, but I don't understand why he just didn't back out and postpone it a little bit and get that thing fixed. But you get guys who can throw kicks like they do, and now people are really good in conditioning their shins and preparing for those low calf kicks, and dudes are breaking shins because when you're throwing a low calf kick, you're hitting with the lower part right above the foot area, and that part is not as sturdy, man, as that upper knee knuckle, upper part of the shin, and people are snapping them. So my hat's off to Conor McGregor. I know he's in good spirits right now. He's healing up fast. I saw him doing some upper body workouts not too long on his social media. But Dustin Poirier, man, he went out there. I believe Dustin was winning the fight. He was backing Conor McGregor up. I thought it was a good fight. I just didn't like the way it ended. I wanted to see all 5 rounds.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Do you think McGregor will be the same coming back? I mean, you see firsthand, you got a guy in Chris Weidman who looks like Wolverine at this point now, the way he's coming back so quickly. But do you think McGregor will be the same?
It looks like McGregor's fired up, man. Like you see him doing pull-ups and getting workouts in. He looks shredded at this point. Like he hadn't gained any weight at all. When you're coming back off of an injury or something like that, when I came off of my injury, of tearing every ligament in my left leg, and people telling you that you'll never be the same, gave me the fuel, the fire to train as hard as I can. I believe that you're going to see a better Chris Weidman and a better Conor McGregor.
Interesting. Yeah, how often is Chris in the gym? Because I know he's moved there now, so I guess you were mentioning tonight, even during the interview, he's at the gym right now.
Yeah, man, Chris Weidman is awesome, man. He's doing workouts at his home, getting some mitt work in as well, breaking a sweat. The guy's in shape. Like, he looks amazing. Hadn't gained any extra weight. He's Wolverine. I don't get it. I don't get how fast this dude is healing. I don't know if he may or may not have to get another surgery. I know there was something going on with it, but the guy's in great spirits, man. He knows he can come back for something like this because he's already done it once. He go back in there for surgery. If it happens, he's going to come back and he's going to get back on the grind. So, and that inspires me, man. That right there inspires guys like that on social media. Like, dang, look at freaking Conor. Look at Chris, dude. Like, I got no excuses right now. If I get little bumps and bruises, no excuses. You get in the dang gym and you work. So that inspires me for sure.
Completely kind of a different turn here, just because I was thinking about him. Islam Makhachev, I don't know if you saw that fight he had a few weeks ago with Thiago Moises. They're calling him, the next Khabib. What did you think of his performance over Thiago Moises in a main event, really showcasing his skills? The
guy's dominant, man. He does. He looks like a mini Khabib. They fought in the same weight class, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, he fights the same way. It's funny because everybody talks about their strength, how strong these guys are. And, when you're coming up from where they come from, predominantly a wrestling world, you're going to have some guys that just are on another level when it comes to strength. And they don't look it, they're like they're just farm boys, and those farm guys. I got a buddy of mine that I used to train with. He grew up on a farm, and he was the strongest. He never lifted weight in his life. The strongest guy I've ever met in my life. And his wrestling and jiu-jitsu was just on point, and that's where kind of they gravitate to. But he's awesome. I mean, that's another Khabib right there. He calls him his older brother. And it definitely shows. It's and what's so cool about it is, and I love to see him and Khabib right there with him. Kind of be that father brother figure as Khabib's dad was to him. You know what I'm saying? He's there for the guys, and watch him coaching his guys in the gym and being there for him and making them work is just awesome. I think it's great, man. And I think Khabib's made for that. He's made for it to be a coach.
Speaking of Khabib, you mentioned it there. He was supposed to fight. Apparently, they were offering him a fight against George St. Pierre, and Khabib's like, "No, I'm good. I'm retired." Were you surprised he made that decision, or do you think, hey, you made the right choice, just stay retired?
Yeah, man. I mean, when you look at Khabib, like, he's a very honorable man, very honorable, very honest, and when he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. I knew that when he said he was going to retire. You can see it in his eyes. You can see the way he talked about it. He wasn't coming back. And, when he says he's going to do something, you expect that. He honors that. So unless it's just like a ridiculous amount of money or something, maybe, but I don't believe he does it for the money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he does it for the money. He does it for the honor and the glory, and to be the best fighter in the world, the GOAT. The pound for pound best fighter in the world is Khabib. So I think he's going to leave it at that.
I think I asked you this before. I want to ask you again. You've played yourself in the EA Sports game, right? I was curious. Do you think it's accurate of your skill set?
It's as close as it can be, I guess. I mean, I thought I was better in UFC 3, and now in UFC 4, for some reason, I'm like easier to knock out. Come on, man, because I've been knocked out one time in my entire career. I feel like I should be the hardest person to knock out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I suck at that game. I'm terrible at it. I'm not good at that game. Chris Weidman, on the other hand, freaking phenomenal. He beats like pro guys at it. I'm just not good at it. Yeah, man, I thought I was better in UFC 3 than I was in UFC 4. So I'm just throwing it out there.
Steven, thanks so much for doing this. I know it's the end of the day. I'm sure the bathrobe's ready, going home and playing some video games, right? If I'm right, before the end of the night. That's usually what you do, right?
You are correct. You know me better than most.
I do. I do. Anything you want to plug? Any sponsors, any social media, the YouTube channel? I'll give you the last word.
Thank you, my friend. Yes, everybody checking this out, go follow me at Wonderboy MMA on Instagram and Twitter. You go to my YouTube channel, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Go check it out. We have a podcast, Tagging Tuesdays, the works. So I appreciate you having me on, my friend, and thank you for letting me plug my stuff. You are the greatest, my brother, the greatest.